Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Reel. I'm your host John, and today we've got another Humminbird video for you. If you're looking to get high-speed depth readings from your Humminbird unit, you're going to want to stay tuned. So a lot of you guys are calling in and asking about these high-speed depth readings, and if you are looking to get high-speed depth readings with your Humminbird unit, there is a way to do it. You're not going to be able to achieve this with the factory transducer. This is not something that you're going to get from that side imaging transducer that came with your unit. Whether you're running a Helix, Solix, or an Apex, I just would not expect to get those high-speed depth readings out of that transducer. The profile of it is just going to keep you from getting those readings at high speeds. But they do have a couple different options for you, and you're going to be able to run a skimmer transducer in the event that you are running an aluminum boat. You don't have a way to shoot through the hole. There is a 2D skimmer, whether you're running Helix, Solix, or Apex, you have that option to mount on the transom. Or you can go with the shoot through the hole transducer, and that is going to be for all of you guys that are running fiberglass boats. You're going to be able to mount this in the bilge area in your boat. So you're actually going to be able to shoot through the fiberglass. That way when you're running down the lake, you still get those high-speed depth readings. You might be asking yourself why you want high-speed depth readings. Maybe you've never realized that you don't get them. Maybe you've just never seen a need for it. But a lot of people, when they're running down the lake, they want to be able to see that depth. I think a lot of people are probably just cross-referencing that with their map. You know, usually you keep a real close eye on your map when you're running down the lake. But a lot of guys, the reason why they want that high-speed depth reading is because they may be on like a river system that has sandbars that fluctuate. And so this is something that is going to help keep you safe. It's going to keep you from running into an obstruction. Now, a lot of that can be avoided by paying close attention to your map if you're on a mapped lake, if you're on a mapped body of water. But if you're not, if you're fishing a body of water that hasn't been mapped, then the high-speed depth reading is definitely going to help you out. If you're on a river system that has sandbars that move, then the high-speed depth reading is definitely going to be something that you want to add. So if you are running a Helix, you're going to want this transducer right here. And in order to connect that with your graph, you're going to need this splitter cable, and this is going to allow you to run the shoot through the hole or the skimmer style transducer into one side of the Y cable. It will be labeled, so there's going to be no mistaking which transducer goes in. And then the other transducer is going to be where your side imaging transducer, for instance, is going to get plugged into. Now what this splitter cable actually does is it eliminates the 2D feed from the side imaging transducer. So you're not trying to run two sources of 2D through the same sonar port. So for those of you that want to know if you can switch between your 2D on your 3-in-1 or your 2D on your shoot through the hole transducer, that is not possible, but it simply eliminates the 2D feed from the side imaging transducer. So that's just kind of a breakdown of what that looks like. It looks the exact same way on a Solix unit. Now when you look at the Apex units, they're going to be a little bit different. They have another sonar port, so you're going to be able to actually plug in a 2D transducer on top of the side imaging transducer that came with your unit. So you will have two sources of 2D, but this is obtainable because it has a separate sonar port, much like Lowrance units and some of the Garmin units that we've seen out there on the market. So if you're familiar with how those units operate, it's going to be very similar, but the Helix and Solix are going to be a little bit different. Now, if you're running a Solix or an Apex unit, this is going to be the transducer that you want if you're shooting through the hole, and this is the transducer that you want if you are going to be mounting on the transom. So if you guys are looking to pick one of these transducers up, if you need the splitter cable, then make sure you go over to russellmarineproducts.com, pick one up and tell them John sent you from behind the reel. One piece of advice that I do have for mounting that shoot through the hole transducer is to get that thing centered with the keel of the boat as best as you can, and also getting it as far back to the transom as you can to get you those high speed depth readings. Now if you are mounting to the transom, I would suggest that you use a transom block. So you would mount that transom block in place, and then typically, you know, they're going to be 8 to 10 inches wide, so you have some room to move that transom mounted transducer without having to drill new holes in the boat. So if you're looking to get high speed depth readings out of your Humminbird unit and you want to go get you a transducer, make sure you go over to russellmarineproducts.com. I'll put those links down in the description below. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one.